I would create mini movies in my head of what that would play out. And then during the test, I could replay that movie.
Welcome to the Business and Pleasure of Flowers. We're your hosts, Vonda Lefevre
And Lori Wilson. And we believe that business and fun are a perfect combination. Kind of like us, Vonda.
So, Lori, I need your expertise on something.
Oh, what exactly am I an expert in?
Oh, you're an expert at very many things.
Okay.
Many things.
Okay.
But this one, so you do a lot of reading, right?
I do until I fall asleep, but yes.
When I read, I have a hard time retaining. And maybe it is because I'm reading before I go to bed and I fall asleep.
Yes.
Sometimes they say when you fall asleep, you're supposed to retain things. But I need your expertise. What are some tips on what I can do to retain what I'm reading? If it's about flowers, I'm all in, right? I can remember that. But sometimes it's like, I really want to learn this. Then I walk away and I'm like, dang, why couldn't I really suck that in?
Right. Well, first of all, here's my theory on why you personally
Yes, I love it. Okay.
not retain or read. It is because you are a mover and a shaker and you are busy doing everything else.
Yes, that's true.
You again are the female version of my husband, and you are a spreadsheet, data-driven, go in the garage and make some arrangements, and then maybe let's sweep the garage, and then maybe go mow the lawn, and then let's get all this other stuff done.
That's true.
And then I'm going to read when I lay down, because you're not a relaxer. You're not a let's lay on the couch and watch Netflix kind of gal.
That's so true.
So part of it is just who God made you to be. And I challenge you to be okay with that. So
is that why I'm better with the audiobooks? Because
Yes.
I can do that.
Yes.
Wow.
I think you actually retain the story better with the audiobook because you can go on a walk.
Right.
And when you're out on a walk, you have no distractions.
True.
You're like, oh, I don't have to check my email. I don't have to look at my computer. I don't have to design for flowers. I don't have to go fix food. I don't have to do these things.
Okay. Fair.
That's my theory.
I like that. Thank you. You're giving me reasons, not excuses.
No, not
reasons why I have this challenge.
It's just how your brain works. And I don't think it's a bad thing. It just is.
Okay.
But it is a challenge when it comes to having to read a book because it is like pulling teeth when I want you to read a book.
It's true.
It's very, very challenging, even when it's the short book. But you did it. The last book.
I did. And I really liked it.
The one book.
The one book. Mm-hmm.
But I want you to confess to our listeners that you bought the actual book.
Yes.
And it was a fiction. And what happened?
I didn't read it.
You're like,
too long.
Too big.
Many words. Too many words. Small print, too many words. And first off, if I get a book and it is like that, I won't even, I'm going to turn it off. Nope.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Yeah. Just mentally shuts down.
Totally shut down. You don't? You see one
no,
of the
I'm like,
and you're like,
I can't wait to get in a cozy chair and just get into this one.
Okay.
Especially if it's fiction, which that's the last fiction I've read.
Right.
You know, I get stuck into these stupid self-help, leadership, management crap books.
Which suck you in too, but in a whole different way.
Too, and make me go, man, I got to be better. But when I told you, because you were going to Cabo, like,
right.
Trust me on this. This is the book for you. Listen to it on audio.
And I did.
got sucked
I
in.
totally sucked in. Yeah, we
And
talked about
after
that
every
on a
chapter,
different.
you're like, "Oh my gosh, I can't stop. I can't stop. It's so good. Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed."
I was totally obsessed. So anytime you have a book like that you think I will listen to,
Yeah.
don't make
Yeah.
me read it, but
No, audio.
listen. Audiobook would be
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. You know what's interesting is my daughter Bailey has become that way,
Oh,
which is weird
interesting.
because she used to be a big, big, big reader, book reader,
Uh-huh.
and she was very anti audiobook.
Mhm.
And now she's kind of moved over to audiobook. I'm only audiobook in the car. I love a good audiobook if I'm driving,
Right.
but I'm not good at it just like willy-nilly in the house.
Do you want a physical book or you
Yes.
tablet?
I like a physical book.
That's my son, Sarah. He has to have a physical
Yeah,
book.
I'm that
And
way.
I think probably like you, he does highlight. He
Yes,
likes to highlight and
I
put
do too.
notes and
Yeah,
that's what this article, when I was reading it, which brought me to, hey, Lori, maybe you could help me
yeah,
on this,
yeah,
is because he had these tips and I'm like, oh,
yeah,
you
yeah,
it was kind of interesting to me. So,
yeah,
yeah, and I'm like, do you do these? And you're like, yeah. I'm like, okay,
yeah.
that's why this.
I could have written this article, unfortunately, but
No, not unfortunately. I think that's a good thing.
yeah,
And because you read books, self-help, manager leadership or empathetic books, and
yeah.
you take away so much from those books, which
Well,
is
but it's
fabulous.
not easy. I mean, that's why I do all these things.
Yeah.
Especially the older you get, or the older I get, it's not easy. My brain doesn't work the way it used to.
And the first one is totally what you just said. Stop allowing yourself to be pulled away.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the hardest part. I think that's your number one issue. I mean, not issue, not bad thing, but when it
My
comes to
problem.
reading, right.
Mhm.
And it's really hard. I know for me, reading a book like, if we got off this podcast
Mhm.
and I decided, "Oh, I'm gonna try to finish this Seth Godin book about" it's just a little tiny book about marketing right
Mhm.
here. I've had it for a long time, read it many years ago.
I
Cameron
have that book too because you
Yeah,
told me to get it.
yeah, yeah, you probably have never even picked this sucker up.
I picked it up and moved it from one shelf to
Right,
another.
you probably put it back into a cabinet. But Cameron Pappas from Norton's, he was reading it at Next Gen, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I need to reread that." And if I start reading this now at my desk in the middle of the day
Mhm.
with both computer screens on, my phone turned on, I'd last maybe 5 minutes because the first email ding, the first text, the first whatever, I'm gonna get distracted. I
Okay.
will not retain
Any of it.
anything.
Okay, gotcha. Mhm. No distractions.
So, if I need to read something that pertains to work
Mhm.
and I feel like it needs to be done during the middle of the day, which very rarely, unless it's early morning, which is where I really like to do my reading, like before busy day part starts, I'll go sit over in my little flower chair, here in
Yep.
my office,
Uh-huh.
turn off all my notification stuff where I can't be distracted. Sit over there maybe for an hour and read.
Mhm. Okay. The end of this first one is I read that and I'm like, "Oh, well, this is so me."
What?
Have to constantly be asking yourself, "How can I use this in my life?" And if I can't, I'm like, "Oh, forget."
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
like, "I don't need
Yeah.
to read this.
How
How
does
can I
this
use."
pertain to me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
How
that's
will I
why
use
some
this?
of them I'm like, "Well,
No.
kinda doesn't."
Well, but see, I do that. Every book I read is, how does this affect a flower shop? How would this affect our members?
Yeah.
Every single book I pick up. Let Them, Mel Robbins,
Yeah.
everything I highlight in there, I'm like, how would this affect? And I usually have specific clickers in my head. I'm like, ooh, I wonder if they've
Ooh.
read this part. Ooh, I might need just like every time. That is my filter.
So that book, Let Them,
Yeah.
I don't have the book, but I have it on audio and I am listening to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
It's a hard one to get through.
just little chunks. That's
Little
why
chunks.
that's why it's helping me is because
Yeah.
it's
But
audio.
I gotta highlight it.
Yeah, I can see why.
Yeah.
I could see that it would be helpful to have the book and to have that to go back to
Yeah, because I go
reference.
back and I highlight it and re-look at it a little bit, and it's one but yes, this reading a nonfiction book as looking at it going, "How is this gonna apply to me?"
Mhm.
Or in a lot of this, "How does this apply to our Flower Click members or our industry?"
Right.
Makes you more aware. We talk about self-awareness.
Yeah.
Makes me much more cognizant of what I'm reading.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like a heightened sense when you do it that way.
Do you highlight things and then put even a note of, "This reminds me of so and so," or sometimes
Sometimes.
yeah, or sticky
Mhm.
notes or
Or
something?
I will immediately screenshot it. If I have my phone next to me, I was like, "Ooh, that's important."
Okay. Hmm.
So,
Okay, number 2, it said, "Pretend like you're watching a movie." This would be more like for fiction books, I would guess.
yes.
According to memory research, visual images are a lot stickier in our brain than abstract stuff like random words. So
Yeah.
whatever you're reading, try to visualize it
Mhm.
as that it was actually a memory of your own.
100%. I did this in college. This is how I would study. I would make this up. Yeah. So if I was reading chapters to study for a test, I would create mini movies in my head of what that would play out. And then during the test, I could replay that movie. And that's how I remember what the chapter was.
That's fascinating. I have never heard that before.
I didn't know that was a thing. I thought it was just the way my weird brain worked.
Wow.
Yeah.
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 Uh-huh.
You figure things out, but visual or I mean, it's the same thing as taking I think it's on down, but taking really good notes in class.
Mhm.
I would memorize placement of the notes, and then during the test, I could close my eyes and remember where they were, and that's how I could know the answers, where they were in my notebook.
Okay, Lori, we're going to take a quick break to hear a message from our sponsor. FlowerClick's expertise is your online store, your website. We create and professionally photograph current, trendy designs and add them to your website. Just like your physical shop, you have to change out the displays on your website. We do that for you. We merchandise the products on your website to entice customers to buy from you. It'll make you look great. You'll sell more at a higher price. And did I mention those are profitable designs? Your website is your best salesperson. And there's so much more to FlowerClick, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention our tight-knit community of members. We have like-minded business owners who respect and really want to help one another. Our members are amazing, which drives us to do all we can for their success. Don't underestimate the power of what FlowerClick can do for you. Okay, so this is a really random comment. I watch Jeopardy, as you know, I'm a
Yeah.
Jeopardy watcher.
Yes,
And
you
those
are.
people, their eyes either close or they move them one way or another, and I think they're doing just that. They're probably
Yeah,
visualizing
100%.
what that was. And,
They
there's
do.
usually a little delay, and then
Yep. It's
interesting.
you, and you're visualizing it. That's how that's
Wow.
how we do it. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, they're watching their movie.
Uh-huh. Watching your movie you made. I've made a lot of movies, Vonda.
You did, Lori.
Isn't
Woo,
that crazy?
man. Okay, so the next one, handwrite interesting ideas you read. You have, yeah, and I know you do this
I have
because you're
books.
like, oh, I
I
just
have
wrote this
notebooks.
down. Oh, I just wrote this down. So,
Oh, yep.
wow.
And I handwrite them, and that way I can remember what I wrote. That's also how I studied. I've done that since college, since high school. That's how I studied for the SATs and ACTs.
It's just,
The first time I took my ACTs, I mean, stupid. I think I made like a 19. I did never study. And then I think I brought it up by 8 or 9 points by just handwriting studying
Interesting.
the next time. Yeah. And then that's all I study. That's how Bailey studies. She's taking a 6-hour test tomorrow, Saturday. I mean, by the time this is played, she'll have already taken it. And that's how she studies, handwrites everything so she can remember as she writes.
It was interesting because the quote says Beethoven left behind an enormous number of sketchbooks, yet he said he never actually looked at them when he composed. Asked why he kept them, he reported, "If I don't write it down immediately, I forget it right away. If I put it in a sketchbook, I'll never forget it, and I never have to look it up again."
Exactly. Exactly. If I write it, I'll never forget it because I'll visually remember that I wrote it. This is weird. That's how I used to memorize Bible verses.
You would just write them down.
Write them down, and then I'll remember because I remember writing them. I remember every word that I wrote.
So it makes you really question whether the youth these days who do everything typing on the computer, instead of writing it down,
No memory.
that's probably where there's a lack of
100%. 100%. Between that and not having to read a map.
Yeah.
Don't get me started.
Oh, a map reading. Oh my God, I used to love to read a map.
I know it. They don't know what an atlas is. It just, the teacher and me could go off. Right?
I'm sure, Lori. But this one right here, they should know how important this is right here.
I know.
Holy cow.
It's to be able to actually study. I guess they have to come up with total different strategies. I mean, they have like Quizlet. I mean, then that's probably antiquated by now. I don't know what they use now.
I think some schools still do that because I remember Campbell writing some stuff and I'm doing, "What are you doing?" She said, "I'm studying for my test."
Note cards and things. Yeah.
Yeah. So she was still doing that. I think the girls were, but interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Next one, learn to fully interact with a book, which I'm sure you do that. That's where we're talking about underlining or highlighting the memorable things and then applying what you read.
Yeah. Well, this one, I was thinking about our prep schools, our sales prep 2.0, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Interact with, I know the video part, but our sales prep guidebook, our workbook, which is phenomenal. You know, each day of prep school has entire chapters that go along with it. To be able to interact back and forth. That's what, when I was reading this one, I was like, that's exactly what that's for. That's why we did it.
That's right. The teacher and you. There you go.
Right.
Fully interacting. So you're reading that workbook, you're interacting with the video, and then you're applying what you read.
Right.
So it's really putting all those.
Exactly.
And then the next one, Lori, gosh, when you redesign that, that's amazing. Teach somebody else what you read.
This is exactly why you redesign. I was like, this was my vision. That's why it has to fit. This is how people learn.
So you didn't even have these actual steps, but you knew
No, I
already.
didn't know there were actual steps, but I knew this was the concept. Like, we got to be able to have both.
Yeah.
So people can do it. What was number 5?
Number 5 is apply what you read.
Mm-hmm.
And then number 6 is teach somebody else what you've read.
Yep.
And then number 7, review, or role play. Yep, practice.
And that's what those challenges are.
Wow.
Practice.
Yeah.
And that's what they are. And reteach, right? That's what in teacher school they say, you never really learn until you can actually reteach what you just learned. That's how you know you've actually learned.
Well, and that's the role playing, really, because you're doing
100%.
Another one of yours. Yeah. Wow. That's really fascinating. Yeah. And that's you. You do this all the time. And I really have to get in a different space, right? If there's something I really do want to read and I don't want it on an audiobook, I'm going to have to apply myself. This to me doesn't come natural.
Right.
But totally makes sense. So, I mean, with our workbook, that
Right.
kind of stuff is easy for me, right? To follow
Right.
directions. If you're going to run a flower room, you need to do this. And then you need to do that. And then you have to teach somebody else how to do it. Those whole steps can be applied to leadership too.
100%. Well, and all of this is important, not just in books, but when you're creating guidelines for your flower shop, right? Or guidebooks or handbooks or whatever you want to call them. I know a lot of florists out there. It was in one of the Facebook groups just recently wanting to redo their standards or their guidebooks. And the issue that people have is the problem of assumption, assuming everybody that comes in knows the super, super basics. And knowing this kind of information here that we just walked through could be really helpful when creating those guidebooks.
Right. And then nowadays we know you can put that in AI and it's going to generate something for you. But then you can't just go, oh, well, here we have it. That's, I think, the problem that is happening with AI sometimes is that we're taking that for gospel instead of now let's apply some common sense to what is being spit out from AI.
Right.
And again, like this, reassess. Does it follow the steps? Does it make it so that the person can retain?
Right. I agree. I wonder how many people nowadays actually take the time to read a book, though.
It's a good question.
I'm sure there's case studies out there. Are there more readers now than there were a decade ago, or are there less?
I'm kind of out of this right now, but do schools still encourage so many books per semester?
Right,
The kids
right.
still have, and we used to get a certificate for a personal pan pizza. Yeah.
I saw a TikTok the other day and I laughed so hard because I was like, man, it was someone, he was probably in his 30s, 35, and he does book reviews on TikTok. I follow a lot of people that do book reviews, and he did a thing where he was like, just order myself a pizza because I read 10 books.
I love it.
I love it. That's so true.
So true.
I read my 10 books this month. I just ordered Pizza Hut. And
Isn't, but you think how brilliant that was at Pizza Hut, right? Because the association for us is like,
yeah, I loved it. It made me giggle though. I was like, oh, what a memory. I remember having to sign off on all of that for my kids. I get a coupon, I get a free pizza. Like it was that one little personal pizza, but then we had to go buy all the other pizzas for the rest of the family. But it was totally worth it.
Totally worth it. And
because I didn't have to cook.
So anybody who's listening, drop comments in whenever you see this posted somewhere. If your children still get an incentive for reading books at school, I want to know. That's very interesting.
That would be great. I love it. So
I hope so. We got to do something to encourage book reading, don't we?
I think so. For me, it is. It's a nice thing to get away for a little while, in your mind for 1 hour.
And then it goes into more, but that's okay. It's a lot to learn. Wow. So we encourage you to read your books and do what Lori does.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't do what Vonda does. Do what Lori does. She's got it down. She's got this.
You'll figure it out.
No, I'll just keep listening. I'll just listen to my book.
That's reading a book.
And then, it's reading a book for me. So, All right, Lori. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you so much for listening to our podcast. We hope you enjoyed spending time with us because we enjoy spending time with you. If you did, make sure you hit that subscribe button or add the business and pleasure of flowers to your Google morning routine or your flash briefing on Alexa. We look forward to seeing you next week.
So please come back and join us and discover how a bit of knowledge and one small change in your mindset can take you to new levels in your life and business.